Once you've covered this centerpiece with that dotted texture, you'll probably notice that it flattened it out a bit, and that's completely fine. Just sort of turn it over and gently kind of redo the the first step that you did to roll up that edge. You may wonder why you're doing it twice, but because it stretches the leather a little bit to kind of change the shape of it, it is much easier to get that shape back without completely messing up this texture if you've already done it once. It'll sort of fall into shape pretty naturally. And then again, I'm going to press down my finger. I'm actually going to roll this a little bit more. How much dimension you want on your center just kind of depends on the look you're going for. You can either do more or less of these steps. Um, and now the last thing I'm going to do with this center is just, again with the stylus, I'm just going to do some darker dots, kind of filling in just that center part that I pressed down. It'll help press it down a little bit more, and it'll also help kind of distinguish the texture from what's around it and give it a little bit more shape. So now that is what that center looks like, and you just want to make sure that it can sit flat. The edges in the center can sit flat on your surface, and then it is ready to go off to the side to dry. The two petal pieces are now ready to go, and you can start with either of them. They're done basically the same way. This one, I am going to start with the smooth side of the leather facing up, because that is the side I want to make my texture marks on with the pointed end of the stylus. And these marks you'll be able to see in the pattern in your kit. It's basically 2 lines per petal that separate the petal into thirds-ish. It's not very precise. It essentially looks like that. If you prefer not to do this many lines, or you just don't care that it have that much texture, you could just do 1 line down the center if you want. But don't worry that they be absolutely identical, as long as they're not wildly off, like, going way off to the side, it'll be just fine. They just need to be sort of approximately separating the petals into about thirds, and they do need to have a bit of a curve, just so they can kind of follow the outer curve of the petal. And they'll either come together at the end of the petal or come very close to a point. Make sure that you press down hard enough with the stylus that you can get a nice clear line. If the leather seems to be at all shiny, you're getting any moisture coming up when you do these lines, it's definitely too wet. And that is also probably true if you find that you make the lines easily but they don't seem to stay very sharp. Your leather may be too wet and need to sit. It's completely fine to do a line and then go back over it if you want to make it a little bit darker. You can go over it as many times as you want. If you want to more lightly scribe the line and then go back and do it more clearly, then that will work just fine. Once you've got all those petal lines on there, what I'm going to do is go around. All of the petals are done the same. I'm going to go around to all of them and just gently pinch them, like closing a book with the side with the lines on it will be kind of in the inside of this pinch. So I've still got the front side of the leather facing me. I'm just going to go around real quick and just with my fingers just kind of pinch them basically in the middle. And if your leather is the right moisture level, it should do what mine is doing here, where it's not particularly hard to move around. It's pretty soft and malleable, but it also is staying very nicely in the place that I have put it. So you've gone all the way around, and then I want to go around one more time, and my fingers, my pointer fingers, I'm kind of holding to just hold this pinch in a little bit, hold that shape. And with my thumbs, I'm just going to gently curl back the edges of the petal just a little bit. Once you've done it, you've gotten it started, it can sometimes be easier to just lay it down and sort of squeeze it a little bit. You'll find that there's only so much you can curl it back because they're pretty narrow, but even doing it just a bit will really give a lot of dimension to your petals. And as you're doing this, don't worry if the petals are kind of look a little bit squished or a little narrower than you think they should be. We're sort of overdoing the forming just a little bit. as we go through, because it is a lot easier to kind of curl these more than necessary now, and then flatten them out later if need be, then try to get more shape into it later.